Yeah. Yep. Hey.
Hello.
Y'all. How y'all doing
Hey.
today, tonight, this evening, this morning? Where are you in the world? What's going on with you?
Hopefully you guys are doing great.
Well, you know what we always say. No matter how you're doing, you always need to make sure you have the spice.
Oh. Give
her
some more.
Give us some
Come
more.
on, bring it on.
La 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 la.
Yay! Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Beautiful peeps, our beautiful peeps out there.
Yeah.
Come on now, we can do this. Yeah.
Oh, how you doing today, Anna?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, that's good.
Doing good today.
I got that day started off right.
How you doing? You sound like you're doing well. You sound like you're having a pretty good day.
I've had an amazing, phenomenal, outstanding, beautiful, tremendous, stupendous,
come on,
never end this.
Bring it.
Got this message. Let's send this. Don't pretend this. All right.
Great.
And you're a big part of that. No, not adding flavor or trying to puff up. That's facts.
Great.
That's facts.
Well,
she'll figure it out soon. Like she doesn't know, but she sometimes. But anyway,
we'll see. I'll figure it out. We'll see if I figure it out.
I'm not just lighting you up.
All right then.
Oh, what?
All right.
Come on.
Well, all right then.
What you trying to say?
You're trying to bring out the theme of our show. What are we going to talk about, Christopher?
Well, that stuff that sometimes comes out before you have to use the bathroom, gas.
Oh, wow.
And then things that keep power as part of power so you can see is light.
What a way to put that.
So I found out a lot about it. It's a term I've heard a lot, gaslighting, by the way.
Yeah, so this is something new because this term, I've seen it across social media so much, but we're going to talk about it because it is important.
Yeah, I don't know that it's maybe more new to us. I don't know. But from the research I know about it, it's been around for a minute. I guess I don't know much about it because I've never heard that been told to me, and I definitely don't feel like people around me encompass that.
Yeah, it actually came from what I was hearing from Alfred Hitchcock or Hitchcock, however you say it, movie, and a person was depicting this type of behavior towards someone.
So that's been around for a minute then.
Yes, it has been, and I think that term was used in that movie.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That was the 60s, wasn't it? Like 60s, 70s?
Yes, something like that.
Okay.
Could be as early as the 50s. I could be wrong about that too.
You never know.
Because
you know more than me.
Those shows are in black and white. They're not in color. So I'm going to think the 50s.
Yes. So
early 60s, early 60s.
I've been educated a lot. I've researched it. Angela has definitely helped me out too. But guys, we're going to get into it. And I think the main thing as we talk about it is making sure that, hey, I'm not that I'm out of that circle as far as my personality. Also, what about relationships, friendships, work situations, school situation, any situation where okay, this might be something.
Yeah. And we thrive, or we try to educate you guys about certain things, especially if certain terms and stuff you guys are seeing across there, you don't know what it is or what they mean by this, or, am I a victim of something? Or also, if you are, how do I react to this? And we try to give you some expert advice, some information, we'll talk about it and we share it with you.
And so I totally agree. Angela is spot on, as they say. And of course, we just speaking from our experience, knowledge, and research.
Yeah.
We never just go around and say, "Hey, we have the PhD and the da 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 da."
Exactly.
So you guys do your own research and everything. We just try to help save you a little time and give you just real world experience.
Yes.
We looked at dailyom.com if you're interested in that, and there was a blog by a young lady, Hoku Kruger. Okay. Very real, well written. Say that 3 times fast and backwards. Information. And gave 9 insightful ways, kind of like, to kind of question, are you being gaslit? And then even knowing how to handle it. Intertwined with that, we'll discuss some of the experiences.
Yes.
Just to give you some insight on it, the term gaslighting is all over social media. It sounds trendy. Some of you may be aware of, again, and some feedback that Miss Kruger got was from actually Kathy Nickerson, who has a PhD. She's a licensed clinical psychologist. So this is advice from real world people and us and PhD here.
Yep.
So just to give a little insight before we get into 9 ways, what does this say about gaslighters?
It says that gaslighters aim to make you question your memories, experiences, and perception to invalidate and confuse you, and to weaken your self-esteem and confidence. Why do they do this? To maintain power and control in the relationship.
So it mainly applies to some form of a relationship, just to let you know. Yes. So that's why I say it could apply to marital, family, friends, work, school. If you think about it, it could have been some sort of it. It doesn't have to be all 20,000 things that this encompasses, but it could have been some form of it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. It's pretty heavy.
It is heavy.
So let's look into it and talk about number 1. So if you do feel like, hey, I'm being gaslit, I have someone that's manipulating, someone that's making me feel bad, playing mind games. So, I mean, just all these things about gaslighting.
Yes.
One of the things it advises us to do is talk to that person. Because the reason why I think that's a good idea is because there's different extremes of it. So what do you think?
I do agree with that. I think talking to the person, if you don't, how can you get clear, like, closure from it, or to know like what's really going on? The other person really needs to know, So
what it says here, this is how it gives the advice when it says talk to the other person, because this may be true. It says first, this is not always the case. This is just saying a scenario. First, it's important to note that not all disagreements are gaslighting. That's true. That's where it gets tricky, because we don't want to, and I was talking to Angela about this, we don't want to get into a thing like every little thing that don't go our way. Oh,
yeah, you start questioning every little thing.
He gaslight, she gaslight, they all gaslight. So it says sometimes two people are in conflict and don't see eye to eye.
That's true.
It may not even be able to come to compromise on an issue. And sometimes another person just rubs you the wrong way, and you prefer to spend as little time with them as possible.
That happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how you know when it comes to, okay, how am I approach this person? Should I talk to this person? Gaslighting, however, listen to this, is somebody that's manipulating you. They have a behavior of doing this, and it makes you start questioning. This is what I've seen about gaslighting. Now, this is the biggest thing. This is how I know, like, how do you know? It makes you start questioning your reality. And the part, y'all, again, a lot of y'all may know this, but the part of it is because they are like so convinced, they just so good at this, making you think you're wrong, you didn't say it right, that you like, yeah, am I crazy? And so you have to decide if you're gonna have a discussion with this person, or you like, I'm out. So that's one thing it suggested about that. What do you think?
Yeah, and I like what it says here. It says if you are starting to feel something is off between you and that other person, it's worth speaking to them. It says,
Dr. Nickerson.
Yeah, Dr. Nickerson recommends asking them to change their behavior, specifically in terms of validating your feelings.
Yes, ma'am.
For example, you can say that their behavior has been bothering or upsetting you, and then ask them to work out a solution that works for both parties. Says they may not realize that they're doing it and will make an effort to change, which is a positive sign.
So that's someone that's just maybe, like I said, some of these are pocket things, not necessarily everything that encompasses gaslighting. It could just be, okay, this is a pocket thing that I can work out. Because if somebody is like everything in there, that is, you get out. That's crazy. So number 2 is stay calm when confronting the gaslighter. That's easier said than done.
Yeah,
Now,
because they can.
somebody may say, okay, stay calm. Why would they even recommend that? Because you got to think about it. This person is probably, you starting to grasp what's going on. You're going to want to make sure that when you have this conversation that you're not what? Overly emotional.
Yes.
Are they distracted by certain things you're saying or doing versus what you're trying to tell them, and it's overtime.
And the reason why you definitely want to be calm is if you're not, they are going to exacerbate your actions and what you are saying and make you look even crazier than what you like. You're just emotional. You just got these emotions in you. They're going to really dig into you with those negative responses that they see. And it says, what it says.
She said, Karen, she said, sometimes it's okay to ask a question. So that might be a way to start it by saying, instead of just going in like, you gaslight me. And they, wait a minute, what? You can be like, yeah, they can say something wacky, right? And so instead of you be cool and say, whoa, well, what makes you think that? Ask a question like that, like calmly, what? Because you're preparing yourself. You already say, okay, I'm going to do number 2. I'm going to stay calm when confronting this person.
Yes.
So it's very important. What's number 3?
Right. Number 3 is to develop assertive communication. Learning to assert yourself and your point of view is key to growing from a relationship in which you were gaslit. That could be saying things like, I know what I experienced, or we remember that differently, or my emotions aren't up for debate, or my feelings, my memories, my experiences, they are valid, or I hear you, but that is not my experience.
Yeah.
That is, to me, not only does that assert your point of view, but you are a strong person for saying that. You know what you saw, you know what you heard, you know what you feel. Being assertive about it, that's gonna, what it says, so will give them.
Go ahead.
It was saying it will give them opportunity to correct their behavior, but they're gonna be like, when you're assertive like that and you stand by your word, some people be like, well, what, I didn't mean to, or they'll say some other things to try to get, back, on the, I guess, in the light, the good light. But yeah, what were you going to say, Chris, about this?
I agree. Yeah. So, what does number 4 say there?
Number 4 says create a listening boundary.
Yeah.
And that is interesting. A listening, like, what is that? So let's see, because we're going to have to read this one, because I was a little bit like, want to know more about what that meant. What is a boundary on listening? Says when you're in a situation that you can't easily exit, maybe a gaslighter is your parent or your boss. Says you can try to put the behavior in context by creating a listening boundary. It's a bit like distancing yourself emotionally from the situation. For example, if your boss says something egregious, you remind yourself, that's not about me, that's not about them. Licensed therapy and social worker Jason Polk explains to Daily OM, by doing this, he says you can listen to what they're saying, but can stay psychologically protected. Yes. Because you know what that does when you're when you create that listening boundary, you have to say, hey, they're saying, they're thinking they're talking about me, but that's not me. That's not me. That helps you to stay calm. That helps you not to overreact. And also that helps protect your feelings as well. When you constantly just repeat to yourself, that's not about me. That's not it. That's not who. Just keep saying that, and that should help you.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Number 5 is be compassionate with yourself. Empathy and gaslighting are opposites. So if you're in a situation where you're going to be gaslit, show yourself so much needed kindness. Unfortunately, people who have been gaslit can, in some instances, experience serious long-term effects such as depression. So I think this is more of a preventive thing. When it says be compassionate with yourself, it's not saying just I think I can. It's saying what can happen, because a gaslighter person, you got to think about it. This is a person that doesn't have none of your interests in mind. That's, you've tried off some of these other things already. So now this is more like you got to be like a turtle and being protective. So you got to tell yourself, listen, I know I'm a good person. I know I'm this is something, this person, you can't sit there and just say, oh yeah, this person is 100% right. I deserve what I get. And, and then you fall into, because if you just allow all that to happen, it says here you can fall into, you can have trauma, you can absorb that, you can hold on to that, and you can become depressed. Your confidence, all those things can be wavered. What's so crazy is that I know I've had this stuff happen to some degree, and I know Angela have too. But again, it's like, but I don't know that I had somebody that does everything that encompasses gaslighting. So I was telling this to Angela earlier. If it's a pocket thing, that's different. Gaslighting is a person that's relentless. They got a list of stuff. They love attacking. They love going after people. They love conflict. They love making people feel less. They're not trying to work nothing out because they always right and the other person's always wrong, and they make you think and feel that way. So it's a high level. If you see a person that has one of these things or two, that's a quality maybe y'all can work out with each other. But gaslighting is another level. That's why I want people to understand, like, be careful when you use that word.
Well, I'm going to say this too. Some of the things that I see in regards on the news and what's happening to children, how children are being like abused. I'm talking about abuse in a sense of them not getting anything to eat. I'm seeing a lot of kids being neglected, jumping out of windows just to go get something to eat. I saw a situation where a girl was on the sofa and died on the sofa because her parents wasn't taking care of them. And I'm trying to figure out what in the world a parent in their mind would just abuse their kids in that way. So when you talk about gaslighting as far as on a parental level, some people just got some crazy stuff going on within them that they need help too. Because if you think about it, how many times have a kid come to the parents if they're hungry and they need to be, and they haven't eaten? Think about it. You're talking about a child that is we're really, really, really like underweight. So if they're going to their parents telling them something like they want to eat or whatever, what are they saying back to this kid? How can this, what are they saying to oh yeah, I'm gonna, knowing that their intentions are not to feed them, knowing their intentions not to do this or that, making it sound like that they've taken care of a kid that they didn't. So gaslighting is distorting the reality of the fact that they are good parents. If you're not a good parent, if you're not taking care of your kid, this kid haven't eaten anything, they haven't showered, you haven't been, and that's why I don't watch the news, and I just saw those two come across my news feed that's, on social media. I don't watch the live news because I hate hearing things that happen like that. It doesn't make sense to me. Gaslighting doesn't make sense to me, when you distorting somebody's reality, So when somebody's dealing with that, or they mention about a teacher, well, let's say it's a teacher or a child, when it mentioned if that is a parent, somebody, an authoritative figure toward, that you have to answer to, they will, if someone's like that, they're gaslighting someone, that is an awful position to be in. And when you have to be, says be compassionate with yourself. If you had to deal with that in your childhood, be compassionate with yourself. Don't don't think that that's your fault, if you had to deal with that. it is sad. It's a sad situation. People, deal with depression, having to deal with something like that. It could be any situation that you can really point to that is. But we've seen some really extreme cases in this that could fall into the category of gaslighting. So we're just making awareness of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And make sure you get some help. Again, we're speaking from just experience, but there are professionals out there that can help you, especially like Angela said, if it's something from the past, you may not even know. And if you got a current situation where you're dealing with that, don't just think you always have to deal with it yourself, which takes us into number 6.
Yes.
Talk to someone about it. Here it says one common effect that gaslighting has on victims in isolation in extreme situation, gaslighters will turn victims against their family and friends. They'll isolate them, and they don't even realize it because it doesn't always happen quickly. It's slowly. And so they can find that they're having turmoil and issues with their family and friends where they didn't have it before at all. And then with that year or that month or whatever of being around this person, now you got issues with all your family members.
Yeah.
So that's another maybe red flag or something you have to be careful of. And that can happen even if you're dealing with a personal situation like in the home or even in the workplace. It says in the workplace, it's really important to seek a safe place to discuss the behavior with the gaslighter, to talk to someone. They got a lot of, if you check out some certain jobs, they do have certain people that are professionals that you can speak with, or somebody that you can trust, which is really what you want to do. Not somebody just to agree, but somebody that's a professional.
Yeah. All right. Number 7 says keep a record. When you are being gaslit, you start to doubt your own memory. So for this reason, and it says the National Domestic Violence Hotline recommends keeping a record of any conflict or important incidents. This can be a journal, a voice memos. You can really record your voices on your phone or any type of device. Photos, correspondence with a coworker. Keep this record a secret from the person who's gaslighting you. For example, you can take photos using a disposable camera. If a gaslighter has access to your home, lastly, email the records to a trusted friend, family member, or a coworker in case you need them to validate your experience.
Yeah. So with that, in this country, we live some places that's okay, and some places that may be illegal, especially the picture part. But if it's okay, and know that that you ain't crazy, and you want to make sure you're not, that's what I would want to do. Like I'm gonna make sure I'm not crazy. Maybe a little recording. I don't know about sending to friends and all that stuff again. But it depends on the situation, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can say. It depends on the situation, because that may not always be. Those are like from light to extreme, in my opinion. So.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you're able, like I say, even in a work relationship, this may not be possible. Number 8, what's number 8?
Yeah, number 8 says step away from the relationship. It is important to prioritize yourself and your safety over your relationship with a gaslighter, no matter who this person is. If they're unwilling to change, take yourself out of the situation. And in some instances, ending a toxic friendship or creating firm boundaries with an extremely challenging family member is all it takes for you to be able to feel better and to begin to heal and move on, or get the help and support of a therapist to figure out how to best take care of yourself. Now, I'm going to say this. We're not saying go and get a divorce. No. We're not saying to leave.
Right.
This is kind of a touchy situation there when you're talking about stepping away from relationships. So, and it talks about friendships in this regards and family. Family member. It's not saying something about, stepping away from someone that you are connected to in a more of a legal sense, in a marriage, that is a little bit deeper. And we're talking about gaslighting in regards to how they are perpetrating you in a situation there. It's not easy to do that. In a friendship, this give and take. The marriage is different. Family members are different. When you're with your partner, that is something else that's totally different when you married to someone and you having to work through the situation.
Because this is my opinion. if you know your partner. That's why. Like I know Angela, I know. So I don't. It's never, and especially after I read, it's like never crossed my mind that somebody to that extreme. Are there bits and pieces in our relationship that like, but not. This is a person that's methodical to me.
Right.
Like
Right.
that kind of. I can't even mentally think. Like it's. Oof. But go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
that's it. I think.
No, I'm just going to say that in a relationship, that's different than a friendship. You are more vested in a marriage. All right. So someone that's a friendship, your marriage comes first. You know that if you got a friend that's doing that, that's not a friend. You know.
Right.
If you got someone at work that's doing that, you can either find another job or try to work it through with someone at work.
They tell you to document it, get with HR.
Yeah.
If it becomes an extreme situation, there's ways, because people say, I'm not gonna quit my job. No, but still, why would you let it linger? So it's ways. Not that you're trying to get somebody fired, but if think about it like this: if it's affecting your mental, and okay, this is another level. It's not regular stuff. That's the thing you got to figure out. Once you get there and realize how you are changing because of, document that. And then if it has to go to HR, it goes to HR. But you've done all you could. But you can't just sit there and take it at work, because you can't just leave. So think about it from that standpoint, and then you'll start probably like, okay, I'm going to take some action.
Exactly. And the final one, and most importantly, seek to heal yourself. I love talking about healing yourself.
Heal.
It says, unfortunately, if you were gaslit as a child, as a teen, the situation was most likely not an option for you. And that's another situation. See, I didn't mention that in the previous thing. When you're married or when you're a child, when you in a certain
you mentioned
situation.
About the child thing.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't I? Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned some good examples about the child thing, and I didn't even think about it. That's the only time like when she was saying that, I said maybe that's probably the times I can remember that. But at that time, I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So some things that it says that some children are aware that they are being gaslit until they are already adults because they don't know any other reality. So the solution then is to seek healing for the things that have happened in your past by doing the necessary work of reparenting yourself. What does that mean, reparenting yourself? It says be compassionate with yourself, forgive yourself. This is not because of you. And the doctor advises that those who have experienced gaslighting as a child or adult, that people, they have communication patterns that are bigger than you, that you meet them with. So remind yourself that you can survive and thrive with the necessary support and tools, time, and care.
I think repairing yourself up, I think that's repairing. Like, starting to mend yourself and make sure you keep going and take care of yourself, like Band-Aids and that's from a mental level, I guess. Yeah.
And love yourself too. Don't be too hard on yourself. I know in the past I was very hard on myself. Over things that were out of my control. So, and one show that we're going to do that I'm really gonna love to do. I wouldn't say the name, but it will help. It's gonna help.
Because I don't know what you're gonna say.
Oh, it is what it is. When you have the it is what it is attitude.
Remember that, yeah.
You'll know that you can only handle things that are in your control. But taking care of yourself is in your control. So that's what you have to do. You gotta love yourself, take care of yourself. Don't blame yourself.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, so that's that's gonna be a good one. It is what it is. Yeah,
because
you can that's
because gaslighting is bad for your health.
Yeah, man, blow things up with that.
All right, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you guys tuning in. It's a very sensitive subject, but need to be talked about.
Yeah. Check into that too. You may be like, man, okay. You might listen to this or do a little bit. Like, I'm not crazy. So just check and do the research. I learned a lot. Angela, you educated me, and like I said, the research.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. We are the Spice. Oh,
We got that mold.
Yeah.
You
gave us some
life.
Thank you. Bye-bye.